All right, let's get right into it. On paper, the law in North Carolina is crystal clear. Marijuana is illegal. End of story. Right?
Well, not so fast, because then you see headlines like this from CBS 17, talking about the state's first medical marijuana dispensary. Hold on a second. How is that possible? This is the core of the paradox we're going to unravel today. It's a story about sovereign land, some seriously clever legal loopholes, and maybe, just maybe, a high-tech solution.
So, let's start with part one, North Carolina's bizarre and unexpected green rush. This whole thing kicks off on a literal legal island. See, on April 20th, the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians did something huge. Using their rights as a sovereign nation, they opened up the Great Smoky Cannabis Company. This wasn't just another shop. It was the first ever legal sale of medical marijuana in North Carolina's history, all happening on their own land.
And look, this is no free-for-all. It's a super buttoned-up operation. You can't just walk in. You need a medical card for serious conditions like cancer or PTSD. They've got everything from edibles and vapes to creams, even an on-site bakery making THC-dosed goods. And the most important part? Every single product has to be independently lab-tested. This is a controlled, regulated world.
But that's where the clarity ends. Because once you step off tribal land, everything changes. For the rest of North Carolina, it is a completely different story. It's what you might call the current legal haze.
So how were there thousands of smoke shops selling this stuff all over the state? It all comes down to a massive legal loophole and one little compound, THCA. Now, THCA itself isn't psychoactive. The law says that as long as a cannabis product has less than 0.3% psychoactive THC, it's legal hemp. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The moment you apply heat, light it up, that dormant THCA magically converts into good old THC, the very thing that's illegal.
Okay, so what happens if you buy this legal product and then get pulled over by the cops? This is where it gets really dicey. As one person put it on the Club Maxwell podcast, the burden of proof is suddenly on you. The police don't have to prove it's illegal. You have to prove it's legal. And that means paying for your own expensive lab test to show it was compliant before you used it.
You're basically walking through a legal minefield. Why? Well, for one, police field tests can't tell the difference between legal and illegal stuff. They just see THC. 2, the officer just eyeballs how much you have. No scale needed. And 3, they're starting to pivot from simple possession charges to way more serious DUI charges. So that legal purchase could easily turn into losing your license and facing thousands in fines. It's a huge gamble.
Clearly, this messy, unstable situation can't last. Something's gotta give. And there are some major forces of change, both in North Carolina and at the federal level, that are pushing this whole thing towards a tipping point.
The biggest domino to fall is happening at the federal level. For decades, marijuana has been a Schedule I drug. We're talking the same category as heroin. But that's all changing. A presidential order is moving it to Schedule III. That puts it in the same class as Tylenol with codeine. It's a seismic shift. Basically, the government officially saying, okay, this has medical value and isn't as dangerous as we once thought.
And then you've got the most powerful motivator of all, money. We're talking about a potential $182 million in tax revenue for North Carolina in just the first 3 years of a regulated market. A number like that has a funny way of making politicians pay attention,
So, with all this chaos, all this change, a really unexpected idea is starting to pop up. What if the solution to this legal mess isn't found in a state house, but in code? Could we see cannabis on the blockchain?
Think about it. The biggest problems right now are trust, safety, payments, regulation. It's a mess. So the big question becomes, can technology actually step in and bring some order to all this chaos?
Okay, let's start with the money side of things. This chart here compares the old way of doing things using a payment processor like Stripe to a new model built on something called a base L2 blockchain. Now, don't let the jargon scare you. Just think of a blockchain as a super secure public receipt book that nobody can tamper with. And base L2 is just a really, really fast and cheap version of that. The details might look complicated, but the results are, well, they're a total game changer.
Let me just boil it down for you. In a traditional system, if you're a seller, you might wait 2 to 5 days to get your money. With a blockchain system, you get paid in under a minute. That is huge. And for the platform itself, look at the margins. They could jump from 30% to a whopping 75%. That means more money for everyone, faster.
But it's not just about getting paid faster. This tech could solve the safety and legal problems we've been talking about. Imagine this. A product's official lab results get locked onto the blockchain. They can't be faked. Then, a unique QR code gets slapped on that batch, tracking it all the way from the farm to the shelf. So when you pick it up in a store, you just scan the code with your phone and you can see its entire unchangeable history. Is it legal? Is it safe? No more guessing. You'll know for sure. Okay, so this all brings us to the big picture, the future of weed in North Carolina. And right now, it looks like there are two very, very different paths forward.
Path number one is basically what's happening right now. It's the $2,000 solo business, the scrappy entrepreneur who sets up a Shopify store, finds a good supplier of THCA flower, and just starts selling. The whole goal is simple. Be your own boss, own 100% of your business, and turn a profit.
But then there's path number two, the $50 million tech platform. This is a whole different ballgame. The idea here isn't to sell the weed itself, but to build the digital pipes that the entire industry will run on. A massive B2B marketplace built on that blockchain tech we talked about, automating all the legal stuff, providing instant payments, and creating a trusted network. The goal isn't just to make a quick buck, it's to build the fundamental infrastructure for a future where cannabis is legal everywhere.
And so that's where we're at. North Carolina's at a massive crossroads. Its cannabis future is being born right now in this weird legal gray area. So the ultimate question is, as this industry finally steps out into the open, what will it be built on? Will it be a patchwork of temporary loopholes or a permanent foundation of code?